Hi, this is Kelsey, and you're listening to The Crunchy Cook. For more crunchy cooking, visit my blog at crunchycook.com, or you can follow me on Facebook at facebook.com/crunchycook. Today, my mom, Debbie Taylor Huff, who's the author of Frozen Assets, How to Cook for a Day and Eat for a Month, is talking with me about eating gluten-free and just food allergies generally. Hi, Debbie.
Hi, Kelsey. Thanks for having me with you.
Of course. So, I know you have a lot of experience with having gluten-free people in your house. Can you tell me about that?
Yeah, I've got 3 kids, including you, and 2 of them, including you, are gluten-free. And it's been rather challenging to have kind of a variety of food issues that we need to deal with. You know, we have one person in the home who is also vegetarian. We have a couple people who can't eat beef. We have someone who can't eat dairy.
Yeah.
We have someone who can't eat apples. I mean, the list just goes on. And so, you know, I have the experience with the gluten-free, but also with trying to balance just a variety of food issues. It's kind of challenging sometimes. But
I think one of the hardest things, like at our house of dealing with all of the different health things is usually like cross-contamination. Like, I know that, you know, because we have like 2 people that are gluten-free and 2 people that aren't, it's hard to keep track of what, you know, has gluten in it and what doesn't, and what's gotten crumbs in it and what hasn't, and that was one of the things that when I first found out that I had celiac, and we started clearing everything, you know, out, and I started reading ingredient labels, that it was a lot of the cross-contamination issues that, you know, it was how I ended up getting glutened by accident. You know, I'd have butter that someone else would have used earlier, and it would have had, you know, some crumbs in it that I wouldn't have really noticed or wouldn't have thought was a big deal, and I'd get, you know, sick for a couple of days. And it's things like butter and mayonnaise, and really anything that you're like dipping a knife into tends to be a problem, where I found that the mayonnaise containers that you can have sit upside down and you just squirt them, more like a ketchup bottle, that those can be really helpful, because then nobody's sticking anything in it, so you don't have the risk of getting breadcrumbs in it.
That's a good point.
And then also having a drawer just dedicated to gluten-free food is really helpful. So then it's if it's in that drawer, it's safe because no one else has touched it.
Right.
But because sometimes just even labeling things wasn't always effective, because they were, you know, there might still get, you know, crumbs in it, and you weren't sure because it wasn't in its own space, and then, you know, even for myself, being really sure that I don't get any even gluten-free crumbs in my food is really helpful, because you can't identify, you know, is that a crumb from rice bread or from regular bread, and that makes it scary, and, you know, not knowing for sure, you know, what's on the butter can be a problem. It seems like one of those kind of silly things that makes you feel kind of paranoid, but just a couple of crumbs can make it a huge difference.
Really
It can really be detrimental to someone's health. But I don't know. I think the cross-contamination issue is one of the biggest problems when you have people with so many different food issues.
Yeah, I know for us, the very first thing we did was buy a second toaster.
Yeah, that's really good.
You know, I think that's a really important place to start. You know, you keep the bread items separate, and so we have the gluten-free toaster that's white because it's pure, and then we just have the other one that the non-gluten-free people can use. But it's really important to keep that separate. You know, you might not think that things are being cross-contaminated in the toaster, but they are. That's probably one of the worst places. And so that was the first thing we took care of. But then, we did try the labeling, the different mayonnaises, and that helped.
It did help,
but it wasn't always right. You would still find yourself looking in there going, I don't know, there's crumbs. What if someone else grabbed it by mistake? And
exactly. Then you have to throw a whole mayonnaise thing away, or the people who could eat wheat would end up with 3 different mayonnaise containers because the other ones have gotten contaminated.
Because everybody's afraid. I can't eat it.
Exactly. I'm afraid. So keeping it in a separate drawer, or using the ones that you can just squirt out, and making sure nobody, not even rice bread crumbs, nobody's getting like crumbs in there is
Yeah.
is really helpful.
Well, and I think having separate cutting boards has been
Yeah, that's
helpful
been really
too.
good too. Yeah, that was something that I didn't have any idea about until just a little while ago. Is just that cutting boards, especially wooden ones, can be a problem because sometimes they can kind of like absorb things more.
Yeah, crumbs can get in the cracks.
Yeah, and it can get in the cracks, and so they're harder to clean. We ended up getting a good plastic cutting board.
And we can just throw that in the dishwasher
exactly.
if we have any questions about whether it's been cross-contaminated or not. Some of the issues we're still dealing with are things like the scrubbies in the sink and stuff, and I don't think we really have an answer for that one yet. But hey, we'll get back to your listeners and we'll figure that one out.
We'll figure that out. Yeah, the scrubbies is definitely the thing I'm still trying to figure out. We've tried different colored scrubbies and things like that. Right now, I just try to throw them in the dishwasher like very regularly, but still, even that doesn't completely take care of it. But yeah, definitely cross-contamination issues are really
a huge problem.
Really hard when you have, especially like several people in the house, and there's just a lot of people and a lot of food to keep track of.
Yeah, well, and I think one of the other good things that we did too was to get you your own cupboard.
Yeah, I think that was really good too.
So it's been kind of funny that we actually all have like our own individual cupboards or shelves for our own food things. So, like if somebody who's vegetarian and gluten-free needs to have a particular kind of like chili in a can or something, they can keep that in their cupboard, and then nobody else will eat it by mistake.
Yeah, that has been
leave
good.
them without their snack.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that was
so,
good because
a lot of those lunch type things and snacky things, to keep those separate just in a different cupboard has been helpful.
So. Yeah, like crackers and things
like
that.
breakfast cereals and
exactly.
stuff too.
Well, and like I have the peanut issue, and so some of the things they don't have peanuts in them as an ingredient, but they were manufactured somewhere that has peanuts, and so it won't be in there, so I can be in the same room with it still, but it would make me sick. So other people can have it, but I need to be careful not to eat it, even if it's gluten-free. So just keeping track of those things and having it all in different cupboards seems to be
Yes, welcome to
helpful.
life in our house. It's crazy. Our kitchen is crazy.
It makes eating much more challenging.
Yep. Well, I think maybe we could do this again sometime. I think
that would be good.
This has been fun. I think we have a lot more we can say about it too.
Sounds good.
Thanks for having me.
So you've been listening to The Crunchy Cook. I'm Kelsey, and once again, you can find me on my blog at crunchycook.com.